Hi, I'm Chad, and welcome back to Buttonwillow Raceway Park, where we're out here for the fourth and final round of the California RoadRace Association's 2022 championship and season. So, really excited to get back on the bike after a pretty lackluster performance, I would say, at the third round of the season, running Buttonwillow's configuration number 1 clockwise. Didn't have the best time on Friday, and that kind of threw off my weekend, but stuck out through it. Ended up finishing third in the Amateur 600 Super Sport race later on in the weekend, so did the best that I could. Today we are running configuration 26 counterclockwise, which has the longest straightaway that I personally have ever ridden on a racetrack before. See speeds north of 140 miles an hour, sometimes even touching on 150, so sure to be pretty exciting. I also made a couple additional changes to the bike since the last time I rode it, so if you checked out the last vlog, and if you haven't, check it out right here. But I did a chain and sprocket set, so down 1 in the front, up 2 in the rear, 520 conversion, and then the chain that I got was 118 lengths, so it lengthened my wheelbase 8 millimeters, so helps with preventing wheelies. So I decided to keep it and run it. It's been working out all right, but between then and today, I've actually raised my rear ride height a little bit, added a shim in between the shock and the frame, so about 1 mil of additional height, so make the bike steer a little bit faster or steer a little bit closer to the way it used to before I extended the wheelbase. Also had my forks checked out and refreshed after colliding with the fence, and they were all good, so that's awesome. And then last but not least, I finally flashed my ECU. So I'm running the Triumph off-road map for my slip-on exhaust. I'm not really sure how much of a difference it's gonna make, but let's go find out and get out for the first session. All right, here we go. First time on configuration 26 counterclockwise in a year. I gotta say, I'm very interested to see how the bike feels, and more specifically, how the gearing works, because I am still rocking the down 1 in the front, up 2 in the rear sprocket combo. So let's go see. Well, I think I'll be good with the gearing combo. We'll have to see though as the pace picks up. The bumps. This configuration of the track is so bumpy and in all the wrong spots. Oh, jeez. Oh, okay. Big bumps. Big bumps. My goodness. That was scary. Jeez. This configuration is hard. Alright, first session done. I actually made it out for the first session. How about that? Ooh, I'm already thirsty though. Well, I think the gearing works well around here, so that's good. And the bike feels pretty good. The change to the rear ride height, again, maybe it was a millimeter, but it feels like the bike steers a little bit faster than it did last time, despite having the longer wheelbase. So I'm happy so far. Feeling good after one session. 204.98. That's faster than my best time on the Friday practice before the last CRA round a year ago. So that's good. Improvements. Alright, so first session went alright. Did a 204.98, which is actually about half a second faster than my best time all of Friday last year when I came here and rode this configuration for the first time. So pretty happy with that for first session, just getting warmed up and getting the feeling back in my legs and everything. Bike feels pretty good. I didn't notice as much of a difference with the change in rear ride height as I thought I would. Bike feels good though. It steers a little bit slower than it did before I did the chain and sprocket conversion and lengthened the wheelbase, but not too much slower. It's still pretty agile and goes side to side, especially going through cotton corners pretty easily. So pretty happy so far. And yeah, the ECU flash, I didn't really notice that much, to be honest. Maybe I picked up a little bit of grunt in the mid-range, but again, it's kind of hard to tell. I've changed so much with the bike, and this is only the second weekend that I've ridden it with the gearing, and I mean, I didn't even get to ride it that much the last weekend. So, I don't know, but feels good so far. So we're gonna get back out there for another session and see how we feel and see if we can go a little bit faster. Yeah, nothing like putting sweaty gloves on sweaty hands. That is a 10th faster. than my previous PB. Wow, already. I'm gonna call it though. That was exhausting. Alright, so second session done. Set a new personal best already, and I've done 10 laps maybe. 159.62. My previous personal best was in the Amateur 600 Super Sport race last year. I think it was lap 5 or 6, and it was a 159.751. So it's Friday, it's practice. I definitely wasn't pushing as hard as I think I could, so feels good. Feels very nice. I think I'm going to make a small adjustment to the front suspension. As I mentioned before, I initially had the suspension rebuilt before round 3 in July, but after colliding with the fence, my buddies David and Jimmy over at Lab Motorsports recommended I take it all apart again, clean everything out, just make sure everything was straight, which it was. Got some fresh oil in there, but I don't think I set the suspension quite right. I think there's a little too much preload in it right now. I think I'm at 9 turns out of 15. Before that, though, I think I was at like 10 out of 17. So I'm going to take a turn of preload out and see if that gives me a little bit more front end feel, because I do feel like I'm bouncing around a little bit right now, especially braking in some of the harder zones and turning into Star Mazda before heading out onto the drag strip. Pretty crazy. Logged the top speed of 146 miles per hour according to my Solo 2, so it's pretty legit, I think. Pretty accurate, more accurate than the speedometer, which is probably saying like 160 or something, especially with gearing. But yeah, feeling good so far. So gonna make that small adjustment to the suspension and see how the next session feels. It's getting pretty hot already too. I think we're into the 90s and it's like 10:40 right now. So it's not gonna be long before we're cracking 100. I think my strategy for the day is to just ride the first 4 or 5 sessions, and I've already done the first 2. And then after that, just cool off and relax for the rest of the day. Try to rest up for tomorrow.
Early 59, not bad. Front end felt better too. I took that 1 turn of preload out on each fork. Yeah, that helped, I think. One lap. Well, so much for that session. Oh, that air is hot. Woo! Gotta be over 100 degrees already. Well, that was silly. Well, I think with that, it's time to call it a day. 70 miles, not bad. Especially considering it's over 100 degrees right now.
Alright, so things got a little funky towards the end of the day, the last couple sessions, just with timing and mishearing calls and stuff, but anywho, day one done. Kept it upright, kept it out of the dirt, and set a new PB. So, again, pretty happy with that, especially considering just kind of how I was feeling coming into this weekend. 159.62. Previous personal best was 159.751, so it's only a tenth, but nevertheless, hoping we'll improve some more tomorrow in practice and hopefully even more during the race on Sunday. Overall, the bike felt good. I think today, especially going through the S's towards Star Mazda, was the first time that I noticed the longer wheelbase. The bike definitely required a little bit more effort to transition side to side between those, just the little changes. But outside of that, the bike felt great. It's pretty stable. It transitioned nicely at lower speeds, such as going through cotton corners. Overall, I think it's in pretty good shape, and we're in a good spot to go do some damage in the races. With that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I would sincerely appreciate a gentle little click of the like button. And if you consider subscribing for more motorcycle content like this, drop a comment below. Have you ever thought about going club racing? I highly suggest you do. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, later.